All right. First of all, credit to Utah. I thought number 4, the quarterback, was spectacular. We've seen him all year. He's done that versus everybody. I thought we did a good job for the first 3 quarters, really stopping the run. But unfortunately, a lot of the routes in the passing game, pass defense, they defended us pretty well. I thought Phil Snow stepped in and tried to do a really great job for us. He could have stuck with some of the stuff we did all year long. Really got us a kind of a kickstart into being a 4-down quarters team for next year. And so we had some kind of miscommunications at times, or just not quite playing fast enough in the passing game. But I think that we thought that was the best thing for us to do moving forward, was to start really kind of on what Coach Orich wants to do for us as we move forward. Offensively, obviously, we came out, set the tone early. The backs, I thought, did a really nice job, and then just really quite couldn't sustain it. So special teams-wise, I thought they won there. So credit to them. They were 4-8 team last year that made the necessary changes to get to a 11, 12-win team, whatever, to 11-win team, I guess. And those are the same things, the changes that we've tried to make so we can get there next year. But they got the best of us today. So with that, I'll answer your questions.
Your offense had 5 straight 3-and-outs. Did they make an adjustment, and did you guys fail to adjust, or did you get away from what was working?
No, we didn't get away from it. They started zone pressuring us, and you have to just kind of win those plays, and we just didn't quite win enough. And we had some opportunities, but we had a screen that should be out for a touchdown. We just don't quite make a block. We have some plays that are just not quite there. We're just not quite there. We left the pocket sometimes a little too early. So I just think it was just, we kind of were in rhythm early. They made some adjustments, and we just, our guys just didn't quite make enough kind of plays. And then the second half, obviously, we moved the ball a couple times, brought down the field, and just didn't get in the end zone, obviously.
How do you assess TJ's play? You touched on it there, but overall.
Yeah, I think in general, we ran the ball early and had good rhythm. I think there were a couple of times where the pocket, he maybe left the pocket just a little too early. Some other times where, he went for a 4th down and we're open, and they, bat the ball down. So, I thought he protected the ball until that last pick. So I wouldn't say it was just either way from what I could tell. I'll have to go back and watch the tape to really have a good feel for where he was at, and see the reads. But they were playing man coverage against us, and pressuring, and we just didn't hurt them enough. And so whether that was the plays or the routes, I have to go back and see that.
You referred to the defense's lack. And you weren't happy with the effort of the last 2 regular season games, physicality. How was that today in your mind? I
thought we were really physical. I thought we stopped the run for the most part. Like in the first half, I think at one point they had like 60 yards and like 100 rushing, but 150 yards passing. They got out on one naked, and the quarterback just took off. But these guys are running for 3-4 yards a game against people, and I thought. We were holding up on the inside. Really, it was the passing game. They threw for 300 yards against us. And from the very first play, when it was cover 2, and they get behind us in cover 2, that can never happen. It shouldn't happen. Third and 18, scrambling around, and he makes a play. So, but I didn't think it was. I never felt like it was a lack of physicality. I never felt like it was anything. In fact, coming into the game, we were really thinking a lot about the run game, obviously with the way we had played the run during the year, and we were spilling everything, and there wasn't a lot of big explosive runs. So I wasn't concerned with the effort. It was more just the execution. And some guys got banged up in the game. A lot of guys played in the game. And every dark time there's some silver linings. There's a lot of young players made some plays. Quinn Clark catches a fade down the left sideline. A bunch of young guys on defense played today. So it's because we're learning some lessons by fire. But I didn't question the effort at all.
Given the number of players you played today and the schematic changes you're sort of moving toward what Orich wants to do, did you kind of incur the risk that you knew that there might be some moments that were a little bit off, given that you were doing something new and you were doing it with young guys against a really good team? Yeah,
we came into the game knowing that Sean wasn't going to play and Isaiah wasn't going to play. We were down some guys, but that's the point of bowl games, right? Is it thrusts you into the next year. Let me just say this: we came to win the game. There's nothing that we didn't want to do to win the game. However, we just felt like the best chance we had was to kind of move into that 4 down and play quarters and play cover 3 and bring a couple pressures. And if anything, we were like, hey, we're going to have enough. We had to work hard and having enough hats for the run game. And it wasn't like it was play action, like we were sold out to the run. They just dropped back and threw it against us too much. But they had a dynamic quarterback, one of the best players we've seen all year, and he was able to run around and buy time. So. And then you get into the game, right? So we started Justin Rhett, we started Marquise, Justin goes down. So you got to see Jameer Khan in there. You got to see Caleb Benning in there. So, I mean, guys have to decide who's going to go in the portal, who's not. But for the most part, a lot of young players that should be back with us got to play a lot. So that is sort of the silver lining of kind of the way that we play. Even though the defensive ends I was working with, I have Cam, I have Will, I have Keona, and I have Cade. I mean, those are freshmen and sophomores. So, there was a lot of work done this week to try to take away the quarterback run. I thought they worked hard at it.
What do you make of Makai and Nelson's day, and how do you see that running back picture?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at it, Makai had the explosive runs. Mosey continued to make plays. Quentin Eyes was the short yardage back and the third down blitz back. And, coming into this game, that was the least of my worries. And I think those are three really good players. So we feel really good about them being the backs moving forward next year. And sort of today was a more traditional approach to the running back room as opposed to what happened this year where everyone kind of mixed in. So, like I said, there's we have the portal coming up. The portal giveth and the portal taketh away. We'll see kind of how it goes. But we do feel really good about the running back room as it is right now.
Matt, with the way these last 3 games ended on the season, how big is this offseason to get this roster right, get things corrected for 2026?
Yeah, there's a ton of work that has to be done. And I think that work for us is and we began it long ago, right? I mean, I think in terms of like looking at the off season, looking at the Big Ten schedule, looking at the travel, coming down the stretch of the year, we're pretty beat up. So how can we do things better? How can we do things differently? From sports science to medicine to strength training, we've been studying everything. And so, obviously the last 3 games make it hard to say a lot of things, but like. As I said to the guys, Henry Lutovsky said in the press conference yesterday, get to back-to-back bowl games. That is an accomplishment. I don't want to forget that for them. But to get over the hump, we have a lot to do. And so, we're going to attack it, and we're going to be unbelievably persistent at it. And like I said, they're a great model, right? They were 4-8 last year, and that quarterback was on another roster, and he came in, and he's been a lightning rod for them. And now they're going to have to deal with the portal now too, So all of us have to deal with all that. So, but Pat Stewart, Keith Williams, Logan Holgerson, those guys, I think we're in really good position in terms of what we'll do in terms of personnel.
Does that start then just right away on Friday, or I guess it?
Yeah, it's been they've been working on it for months. The portal opens up, and we'll see who's in it, and we'll go from there.
Do you have a sense of who you may? I'm not asking you to give names, but
No, I mean we've re-signed a lot of guys to contracts, and they can't anticipate being here. And there's some guys that they have to make decisions that's best for them. So we're not super worried about it. There's a lot of guys that would like to come to the University of Nebraska, and we're in a good position. So Pat and those guys are well positioned to do that.
I know Penn State got hot. Iowa beat Vanderbilt today. Utah is unlimited. The concern about the gap between where you guys are at and where those 3 teams were. Do you view this game as similar to the Penn State or Iowa?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like we faced 3 top 15 probably teams, and we lost. So I mean, we're not a top 15 team. You know what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't mean we're a bottom 15 team. It just means we're not at the level of these guys right now, and so I have to take responsibility for that. We lost 6 games this year. 5 of them were to ranked team. Penn State lost 30 guys for the bowl game, and they still beat Clemson. I mean, they were the preseason top 5 team. We're climbing, trying to get there, and like I said, so we'll look at everything. We'll attack everything in the portal. We'll attack everything with our roster. We'll try to find ways to improve. So that's. I mean, to me, it's really black and white, isn't it? Like, I mean, hey, they're the 15 team in the country. They beat us. It was, we were able to hang with them early for a while. We're not able to do it the entire game yet, and that's where we have to improve.
Rob Ward was here today. Do you think he was able to get out of even these last couple of weeks, just being around the program, that can help him kind of pushing into 26?
Yeah, well, I think he's really been able to look at the roster and be able to give guys a vision for where they fit. The worst thing in the world would be to have a really good kid that's a really good player that's not going to fit the defense that we're in moving forward, right? And at the same time, there might be some guys, like Jameer Khan out there, he's a great fit for what we want to do in terms of playing this position. So he's been able to meet with the guys one-on-one. He's been able to be at practice. He was able to be at the practice flow today. I would just say, we've been here for 3 years. For 2 years, we were really good on defense. We struggled this year. I take full responsibility for that. Okay, I hired John, who's a great coach, and just kind of forced him into something like, hey, stick with the 3-3-5 because we've been good at it. Really wasn't right his fit. We just said, that's not right. we parted ways. I feel bad for him. He's a great person. I wish him the absolute best. We brought in Rob. He's got a system. Say, Rob, put your system in. He knows the guys that he wants to go get for the system. He knows the guys that fit here for the system. We started it, and we didn't put in his system. We just did the kind of quarters the way we had done it early in the year. After Michigan, we didn't play quarters ever again. So it was a tough transition this last month, but at least gave us a head start. So I have no doubt that Rob is going to have us playing great defense. He knows what he wants. I have no doubt that in year 2 with Coach Eckler, that he's going to have us going where we want to go. I have no doubt that Jeep is going to have our offensive line being, a dominant group, and I have no doubt that Dana will get the thing where he wants it to be. So, but we have to get that work done. I'm going to answer your question. I'm not going to rush off. So.
After today, what do you think the identity of your team is, and what do you want it to be?
I think that's a great question. I think it's kind of for next year. I think we want to play great defense and play great special teams, and we want to control the line of scrimmage on offense and be explosive in the passing game. And we ran the ball really well early today, but we were never quite able to hit some of those plays. Like we ran a wheel route to Ja'Cory, and we just weren't able to quite hit it. Or we got pressure at times. I'll say this: guys like Turner Corcoran, man, that kid, he can barely walk. He just cares so much about being a Husker. I'm sure people are going to beat him up a little bit for a sack at the end or whatever. But man, guys, I'm just telling you, he's out there on a leg that most guys wouldn't play on. So. I love that group, and but we'll have a chance now to go back with Jeep, to go back with Dana, and really kind of work through kind of where we want to get to, and but yeah, we have a lot of work to do. So, Sam?
Is there a point where you take away the green light on the kickoff returns and you just say, let's do the 25 instead of trying to?
Yeah, we did that in that game. We went, he kicked it through the end zone, but we finally said, enough's enough, right? So, credit to them. I mean, Corey's too good of a player. We're trying to get the ball in his hands more often. I give Coach Eckler a lot of freedom on that, but he felt like after the second one, he said, hey, the next one's going to be a touchdown. So we did it again. We got tackled at the 14, they were winning and we weren't. And so we would have fair caught the last one, but it went through the end zone. So. Anything else? All right. Thank you, guys. Happy New Year.
Success on the first 2 drives, and they seemed to adjust, and you guys had 5 straight 3 points. What was good early and what changed?
I felt like the biggest thing was taking control of the huddle, and we figured out that lining up fast would give them some issues because of what they do defensively, and I felt like getting that first down, not even getting the first down, but positive yards on first down helped in the first couple drives, and then had a couple setbacks in the second quarter, had a little slow second quarter. We're just playing from behind.
There were moments where it was real close. You had a guy that was open, maybe you got a little pressure. How did you feel like you played and handled some of the many pressures that they put?
I mean, I got to be better at the end of the day. Left a couple plays out there, but at the end of the day, I got to play better, and I got to do better.
Jim, what's just your mindset now going forward and sort of what you gained, from starting these last 4 games and how you can take it into the next year?
I mean, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I played against 4 really good football teams, so I learned a lot. I learned what I can do and what I can't do. So at the end of the day, I just learned a lot.
Did you have fast things to turn from your career? I mean, taking these last few games as the starter, and how big now is this offseason?
I mean, it's going to be a big offseason. My approach to this offseason is going to be different. There's a lot of things I got to improve on. A couple things I got to see defensively, pre and post snap. So a lot of things I got to improve on. So that's what this offseason will be for.
How much you guys, obviously, Quinn played well, but how much did you miss Isaiah today? Not just,
I mean, Isaiah's a good football player, but it's good that we have other guys that can step in and take a big step. Quinn's a great football player, and he showed some of that today.
Was it like watching Makai have some early success today?
I mean, I knew that was going to happen just from how Makai's mindset. I knew that was going to happen. I don't even think it was a surprise to anybody. We knew what Makai can do, and he displayed that today.
what, obviously your last 3 starts were tough. You guys lost a good team. What's your message or what's your mindset of how you guys close the gap between where you're at and where the last 3 teams you played are at?
Say that one more time.
How do you close the gap between where you guys are at and where Utah, Penn State, and Iowa?
I don't think there's a gap. I really don't think there's a gap. I just think there's a couple little things that we need to fix, that I need to fix personally, so that we can improve and win those games. Thank you, guys.
Makai in next. Question, Makai?
Kind of waited, I'm sure, a long time for an opportunity like today. I feel like it went. What was that experience like breaking that touchdown early?
Oh, it definitely felt great, but I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without my offensive lineman, without my receivers blocking. But, this is just something that I've been waiting for, since I got here, being able to show everybody what I could do. So definitely scoring, especially scoring the first touchdown, that felt great.
Now, what do you think is just going to kind of the makeup of this team and how you're going to take the end of the season and going how you wanted it to push ahead to compete against these type of teams?
I definitely feel as though, it's just going to leave a bad taste in our mouth, you feel me? So I feel as though, we're just going to use it as motivation. We're going to go in every day thinking about these the last 3 games, and every day we're just going to go in and we're going to work. The guys that are with us are the guys that are with us, and we're just going to try and put our best foot forward and, definitely grow from this.
For you, how big was today just to kind of get things jump-started for 2026 and kind of make it around to be the starting running back?
I feel as though, it's just all about the process. You got to double down on the process. Work day in and day out. Just feeling as though that you're gonna be the starter. And then once your time comes and once your number is called, I feel as though you just got to go out there and ball out.
Did that give you?
Of course he did. Ever since Emmett opted out, he's been contacting me. I've been contacting him. We've been in contact a lot, and he's just basically been telling me, go be you. Don't go out there and listen to what other people say, try and be like Emmett. Oh, you got to be like Emmett. Just go out there and be you. You're a great player. You're here for a reason. So just go out and put that on display.
TJ said he wasn't surprised at what you were able to do today. What does the confidence that other teammates have in you do for you?
I feel as though it definitely makes me feel better, going out there and knowing that all other 10 guys and even the guys on defense and the guys that are on the sideline, just knowing that they have full confidence and full belief in you that you could go out there and make the play that we need. I feel as though that's just great.
Obviously, coach is in a different position, but with coaching Wade and working with that O-line, are you kind of excited at the back about what that can look like and as he introduces some new things to those guys?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. Coach Jeep, he brings great energy. He's on his guys, he's on our offensive alignment, and I have no doubt in my mind that this upcoming season, with the help of Coach Jeep, like, we're definitely going to take our run game and even our pass game to a next level.
You guys had 5 straight 3-and-outs. You were out there for some of that. What do you think happened? What did they do to adjust, and how did you guys struggle?
To be honest, I just feel as though it was like our tempo. Like, I feel as though, like, when we were hustling to the ball, when we were breaking the huddle, getting lined up, I feel as though that's when, like, we had our edge over them. And I felt like once we sort of kind of stopped doing that, I felt like that's when they were able to adjust and, like, stop us.
Are there specific items you're focused on personally growing in the next, few months in the spring ball?
You said what?
Just a few items you got circled that you want to grow in as a player?
I definitely want to get bigger. Being a Big Ten running back, you got to be big and you got to be able to last the whole season. So I feel as though just focusing on my body weight, also focusing on my pass protection, I feel as though, like, you can never be too good at something. So I feel as though, like, those are the two things that I really want to focus on this offseason.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Questions for Riley?
So how different was what you guys did today than maybe what you've done in previous games? Because Coach Will said you guys did some different things.
Yeah, we definitely lightened up the playbook a little bit, fewer calls, made it a lot simpler up front at least. Coach Snow's message was we're going to play gap sound defense, and that's your gap. Your gap is your house. You want to protect it, and then we threw in a little bit of movements off of there, blitzes. So we simplified it up, just try to play straight up football, gap sound defense. But then I think off of not scheme wise, like with Coach Rule and Dave and Phil and all them taking over the defensive line, I think we kind of just up front for us, especially the D tackles, we wanted to just play. We didn't want to be so focused on reading everything, but just get off the ball, go play, play vertical and react.
How hard was their tempo to adjust to? They were moving real quick.
Yeah, they're quick. We talked about it a lot coming into it. We practiced it. I think one game they almost had 90 snaps, another game with 80 snaps, and you don't see too much of that in the Big Ten, so that's something you have to prepare for, especially as an interior guy. So we try to do some things like, turtle sub, slow, whenever they sub, get a guy in there, slow the tempo down, get breathers, rotate good enough. But you just got to be ready for it. You got to know when the tempo is going to happen, especially after a big play or something like that they're going to get right back to the line. So we had quick calls in, just one-word checks that we know what we're doing, just to handle that.
Obviously, the last 3 games, there's only 2 on. What do you see this mindset of guys coming back?
Yeah, I think it's not at all what we wanted, but I think everyone in that locker room knows what needs to be done that's going to be here. And we know that for whoever is coming back, they want to be here. And that's what we want. We don't want you to be spaced out. We don't want you thinking about going somewhere else. We had the mindset, like, our big message this week was a team. I just wish I could have done more for those seniors, from my part. Been here. They've been here since my first day, Some of those guys are my hosts on official visits, and so it hurts. But again, in that hurt, with everyone coming back, you can see what needs to be done. We know what we have to do starting January 12th, right when we get back.
How good was that quarterback of all the guys that you faced at college?
Yeah, he was good. And I think they're in a real good offense for his skill set, too. Little speed options, you think they're going to hand it, and then he can pull it and find a seam and go. He's fast. And then he has a good arm as well. So it's a little bit different what we played, but I think we played very well very good quarterbacks this year, especially with their feet. And so got us ready for that. But yeah, he brought I think his skill along with their offense brought a little bit of something different that we haven't seen.
Riley, with the personnel you guys have, how much better fit could the 4-2-5 be for some of the defensive linemen moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's just uphill from here once we learn it and get it down. We kind of talked about it, like, Coach Snow could have stuck back and done everything we did this whole year, but we kind of started incorporating a little bit of what he wanted, what we've done, plus a little bit of, what we want to do moving forward, getting a jump start on that. So I think the more we learn it, the better we get at it, and just practices like spring and everything like that, walkthroughs, whether it's drills in the off season. I think we're going to build a lot of confidence. I can already see with the month of it the amount of confidence we've had, and it allows us to play. So.
What do you hope the identity of the defense is this season?
I hope the identity is you eat what you kill. Like, Rule says that to us a lot, and I want to get back to, and I want to do what I can in my part as a leader to get back to that black shirt mindset of, like, if you step on the field with us, you don't deserve to be there. You're not going to play as hard as we are, and you're sure as heck not going to last 4 quarters with us on the field.
Not saying you weren't this guy previously, but did you kind of go into that mode now? I'm one of the leaders on that defense of the squad.
Yeah, especially last year after Ty, Nash, Jamari leaving, had to take over that role. Me, Cam, and Judy kind of started to be leaders on the D line, and then try to leader on the defense. Obviously, I got voted to single digit by the team, which is a huge honor for me. And talking to some of the guys, like, there was a point in the season where I apologized, like, I wish I could have done better. And talking to Coach Rule, you look back, and I had a year, and you don't want to talk about, like, it's a lot of growth, and I think it sets me up for next year. And it was a lot of learning, because, like, college football is so much different than high school. So learning how to lead a locker room of 130 guys where they can listen to you, can connect to them. A lot of learning curves, but I love every single person in that locker room. I go talk to anybody, and so it excites me just to know next year, like, I'm going to step into that full force, and I'm going to be even better because I put that responsibility on my shoulders. And so when I think I didn't live up to what I wanted to do, I'm going to come back and double it next year.
All good.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, if you guys go out.